Hello and welcome. I'm Darla White, Director of Member Services and Marketing for the Seattle King County Realtors. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce the First Citizen Committee Chair, Trish Coy.
Hi, everybody. We are having some technical difficulties here, so I'm going to begin speaking and hopefully video will catch up with me. Thank you, Darla, and good afternoon, everyone. For those of you I have not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Trish Coy. I have the distinct honor of being the chairperson of the First Citizen Event Committee. I'll be your MC tonight for this special virtual celebration. Tomio is here with me in studio, and his family, including his daughter Denise and son Tyler, are streaming from Seattle among friends in Japan and the Philippines. Hello to the entire Moriguchi family. So our agenda will be shared in the chat box below if you'd like to follow along with the program. And first off, I want to extend my thanks to all of you who have joined us to celebrate our 2020 honoree, Tomio Moriguchi, and to everyone who has helped make this award and the event possible. From our volunteers to our staff, to our past recipients, and to our many guests tuning in from home or office, and especially our event committee. We are very fortunate to have two brokerage partners who help us present this award each year. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank John L. Scott Real Estate and Mr. Lennox Scott, and Windermere Real Estate and Mr. Jeff Wood. One of the unique aspects of the First Citizen Award is there's no fundraising expectations for the event. We have always approached this as a celebration of community spirit and as an opportunity to recognize those amazing individuals who give so much to our region and enrich all of our lives. Now that we have Tomio on camera, we can say hello to the Moriguchi family. The financial support of our brokerage partners allow us to do this. We are grateful for the support of our main sponsor this year, Uwajimaya. A special welcome to our past First Citizens in attendance this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Dan and Nancy Evans, our 2003 recipients. Ted Basler, our 2015 recipient. And Mark Piggott, our 2018 recipient. While we couldn't celebrate with you in person this year, we hope that the day will come soon. Sadly, since our First Citizen event, we have lost two past recipients. Former US Senator Slade Gordon, our 2010 First Citizen, did pass away in August of 2020 at the age of 92. During his 40 years as a distinguished public servant, he was a 3-term US Senator, our state's Attorney General, and an active and widely respected board member at several corporations and nonprofits. His achievements include saving Major League Baseball in Seattle and landmark cases and legislation for tribal fishing rights and our environment. William Bill Ruckelshaus, who was honored in 2017 with his wife Jill, died in November 2019. He served as first administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency and had key roles in the Justice Department, earning a reputation as a collaborative problem solver. In that same community spirit, the University of Washington and Washington State University co-host and administer a public policy and leadership development center in his name. In 2015, he was awarded a Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor in the US. Slade and Bill exemplify the ideals of the First Citizen Award, and their legacy will endure. So over the past few weeks, I've had the pleasure of following Tomio around town. He has way more energy than me, by the way. Visiting the store, meeting some of his dearest colleagues, individuals he's met over his decades of service in our community, and they are leaders themselves. With the help of savvy and wonderful Brantegic Media Company, we were able to create a video to celebrate and highlight Tomio's story and share how meaningful the First Citizen Award is to our region as the longest running civic award to date. Please enjoy this film. Hi, I'm Trish Coy. I'm a proud realtor in the Seattle area, and I've been involved with the First Citizen Committee since 2016. The First Citizen Award is really special. It's the longest running civic award in our region and was created by the Realtor organization to boost the morale of the city after the Great Depression. Our 2020 recipient of the First Citizen Award is Tomio Moriguchi and family. They are our 82nd recipient. Tomio and his family have been praised for their strategic leadership, their generosity, volunteerism, and so much more. Tomio is a wonderful, humble man. He is a quiet servant leader. He is so giving of his time, and he would never tell you this, but he has spent his entire life building his family-owned business. We are so excited to celebrate Tomio and his family with the 2020 First Citizen Medallion. If you don't have the pleasure of knowing Tomio, here's his story.
Hi, I'm Tomio Moriguchi. I grew up in Tacoma because my father came to Tacoma in the 1923 or 4, and he started his business in 1928 before he was married. After the late 30s or 40s, business started to pick up, and that's when this World War started and they were incarcerated. The incarceration at that time, our parents just thought that was the way things were. And so we didn't give it much thought. But as we got older and the next generation started to bring this subject up, it became a shame, and we thought more and talked more about it. My mother, like many of the first generation Japanese that were incarcerated, did not talk about it at all. My mother's father had a business in Seattle before the war, and I think my father didn't want to compete with him. So after the war, he felt Seattle was an opportunity. I think it was his desire to come to Seattle always because Seattle just kept booming. The Seattle store, we were a typical small store, so we just expanded little by little, and we were selling mostly products or items for the Japanese community, Japanese American community. My father was always interested in participating in World's Fair, and so he had this vision that some of his products may be more universally accepted. To give you one example, my sister who was there said, "Why don't we sell rice cookers, electric?" I said, "You're crazy, nobody's gonna buy it." But it went off the shelf, because it was novel and it was new, and people just kept buying that. So I said, wow, there's a market out there, not only for Japanese and Asians. So that's how we started to promote to the greater community, and little by little expanded, yes. My father passed away in 1962, August, and so the family business kept growing, and so I was at Boeing, but I would come back and work. And my brother and mother were working so hard. I said, well, I'll come back a couple years to help. And then 48 years later, I guess I got moved on.
Hi, I'm Denise, Tomio's daughter, and also CEO, President of Uwajimaya since 2017. It's just, I felt so appreciative and honored to be able to be trusted to take on this role. And, it just feels so great to be able to continue the legacy, my grandparents, my aunts and uncles and father, and knowing that third generation, it's still in the family, and I hope to pass it to the fourth generation.
To have Denise step in was a very, very pleasant surprise, a happy surprise.
So one thing I remember my dad used to make me do when I was little was pick up trash that any trash on the floor at the store. And I always hated that, and I thought it was kind of gross. And now I really see the value and why that was so important. And now I make my daughter do that, and she always gives me this look like, why do I have to pick up this trash? I'm like, don't worry, it's a good lesson. You'll enjoy it later. But I think it taught me a valuable lesson about being humble and leading. And so I learned that from my dad, and I think that's valuable.
Hi, my name is Tom Ikeda, and I'm the founding executive director of Densho, the Japanese American Legacy Project. Tomio agreed to be one of the founding board members of Densho, and I was really appreciative because he was such a leader in the community, and when I asked him if he would be involved and said yes, it meant a lot. When we've had discussions in the community and the direction of the community, we don't always agree. But the thing that I have learned from Tomio that I so appreciate is that he's really willing to listen to what I have to say. And because of his demeanor and how he is, it's really easy to listen to his perspective.
Hi, I'm Yuka, a founder of the Bellevue Children Academy. I have known Tomio-san for over 20 years. When I opened the school in Bellevue, which is located to old Uwajimaya in Bellevue, he came to see the school and talk to us. And since then, he has been my leadership role model. Tomio is always kind of an inspiration to the young students and teachers and anybody who was education.
I'm Norm. And this is Constance.
I received the first Citizens Award in 1993.
And I received the award in 2014. I think when you think of awards throughout the city, there can't be one any better because it recognizes not only your civic service, but your friendship and your contributions.
It's such an honor to be I know it's my father, but to be part of the Moriguchi family and the Uwajimaya company, to receive this award, to be the 82nd recipient. And it's interesting, when I took this job, I thought I was leading a grocery store, and I found it so much more than a grocery store. And I've just been amazed at how part of the community Uwajimaya is and how supported we are, and how much of the fabric of this community we are.
It's quite an honor to follow the footsteps of these 81 or 82 people that have all been movers and shakers of this, not only Seattle, the region. Fortunately, I've knew or worked with about a couple dozen. And so it's very, very prestigious and very close to my heart because of the people I knew.
I think Tomio deserves this for a few reasons. One, the length of his community service has been for over 50 years. And he did that work not because he was going to get an award sometime in the future. It really was Tomio really wanting to do this. I mean, that's very much his beingness of serving others.
One of the things about Tomio is it's not about him getting credit, it's about who he's helped. There's an old saying about give a little, get a lot. Tomio gives a lot.
My dad is kind, he's very generous, and he's really smart.
When I think about the Tomio-san, friendly smile, generosity, and caring to all people.
What kind of advice can you give to a person that builds, is a great friend, has international ties, and has a sense of humor? None.
Just say I'm so proud of my dad, and he's a great dad.
It's too bad we're not seeing each other, because Tomio would probably have enough people to fill the stadium because there's so much love for him.
What a meaningful video. Thank you so much to Dr. Constance Rice, Norman Rice, Yuka Shimizu, Tom Ikeda, and Denise Moriguchi for being a part of the production and giving their time to making that special tribute possible. Next up, former Mayor Charles Royer is joining us this afternoon to say a few special words about Tomio and his impact on our city. Mr. Royer was mayor of Seattle from 1978 through 1989, following a career in newspaper and television journalism. After leaving office, Mr. Royer served as director of the Institute of Politics at Harvard University and as a lecturer at Harvard's John F. Kennedy School of Government. He is a Pioneer Square resident, founding co-chair of the Seattle Waterfront Committee, vice chair of Friends of Waterfront Seattle, and the former chair of Public Facilities District Board. Mr. Royer and Tomio have a special relationship dating back 50 years. Will you please join me in welcoming Mr. Charles Royer?
Thank you all. When I first heard about this award for Tomio, I failed to read the small print, which said that the award was to Tomio and the Moriguchi family. Well, that's a large group. The Moriguchis and the Tsudakawas. Tomio's father, Fujimatsu, married Shozo Tsudakawa's daughter, Sadako, sister of George Tsudakawa, the famous Seattle artist, and Tomio's uncle. Are you still with me as I go through this? The two families then had some children, cousins, all seriously talented. The Tsudakawas in the field of arts, music, sculpture, painting, literature, a famous, talented family. The Moriguchis excelled in business, started by Tomio's mother and father. The grocery business, which led to housing development, memberships on the boards of banking and civic organizations, a family of civic leaders, a family name writ large in our region, but also beyond, all the way to Japan. I can't think of two Seattle families of their time who've contributed more and more widely to our city. Only 5 such families have received this award in its long, long history. It could be 6, but I have to say your awards committee this year has chosen extremely well. As for Tomio, I can say he's been a long and important force in this city. I used to say in the mayor's office when an issue came up that had to do with the south end of the city or the International District, Chinatown, I always asked my staff, well, have you talked to Tomio about this? Or if something came up as a problem, I would always say, look, give me a few minutes, let me call Tomio. Well, when you look at his families, you can see how a long and important force in this city Tomio has been. You just look at his family's accomplishments and their history. He's also, though this is personal, a softie. He cares about people, and he demonstrates it as his efforts have fed and housed so many in his community. And he's not finished yet. His next project is the next step in a continuing effort of his to recreate Japantown, linking the old, what we call International District Chinatown, with the growing downtown. It's a hotel, but more, it has housing on top. Housing for people who don't want to lose touch with their roots and their culture. I've traveled with Tomio to Japan, and I can say one other thing. He is one of the nicest and most honest and smartest men I have known, and he will never tell you that. Now, as they say, coming up next, Tomio, a group you and I have heard many times at Banodori, the Seattle Kokan Taiko.
Good evening. I'm Georgia Stevens, the 2020 Seattle King County Realtors President. The past year has been one of great challenges requiring perseverance and cooperation from all of us. It was just over 12 months ago that we faced great uncertainty, and now here we are emerging in this new year with greater hope and resilience. It is my distinct privilege to present our 2020 Seattle King County First Citizen Award this evening to Tomio Moriguchi and his family. Together, they embody the spirit of the First Citizen Award. But before I make the presentation, there are some key individuals we would like to thank and acknowledge. First, let me offer thanks to our sponsors and partners who make this award and this event possible year after year. Windermere Real Estate, John L. Scott Real Estate, and Uwajimaya. To our past First Citizens, whose participation tonight continues the tradition of passing this honor to each new recipient. You are all shining examples to all of us. To the First Citizen Event Committee. Year after year, the committee organizes a truly enjoyable evening. And while the organizing of the 2020 First Citizen celebration has been postponed numerous times due to the pandemic, they never lost sight of creating a memorable virtual event that is a true celebration of Tomio and his family. To the staff of Seattle King County Realtors, we thank you. And to our video speakers this evening, Charlie Royer and Yuga Shimuzi. Your stories and words of praise have given greater meaning to the tradition of the First Citizen Award. And finally, thank you to all of you, the citizens of our great region. Your presence here tonight keeps alive the spirit of the First Citizen Award. Realtors first created this award 81 years ago to recognize leadership, commitment to the community, and service above self. In 1939, our region was still recovering from the effects of the Great Depression. Our citizens were looking for a brighter future. How ironic and poetic that we celebrate this year as we emerge from a great pandemic. We continue to look for that brighter future ahead. Creating the award in 1939 helped us realize that the vision for creating a better tomorrow is presented to us every day by the actions of those of us around. Our community is blessed with remarkable organizations, remarkable families, and remarkable individuals. All of the First Citizens with us today have been recognized for their unselfish commitment to our community. Whether through public service, promoting civic pride, supporting humanitarian organizations, guiding charitable and educational institutions, or promoting a flourishing of the arts. Seattle First Citizens endure as an inspiration and role model to all. And they are indeed a very special group. It is a privilege to honor Tomio Moriguchi and his family with this award. You have served our community so admirably over the years. I cannot think of a more inspirational message than the one Father Sundberg had articulated, empowering leaders for a just and humane world. Your example of doing the greatest good for the community embodies the spirit of the First Citizen Award. The award we bestow on you tonight is a symbol of our appreciation to those who have inspired us to give more and to be more and to care more. On behalf of our thousands of Realtor members, and the greater Seattle community, please help me in welcoming and applauding our 2020 First Citizen Award recipient, Tomio Moriguchi.
Thank you. Thank you very much. In an event such as this, there are so many folks that we have to thank, starting with the folks in 1939 who gathered to help businesses affected by the Depression. Today, we cannot adequately thank the folks from the King County Seattle Realtors Association for the wonderful connection. A luncheon at the Four Seasons would have been much easier endeavor, especially for our the chairperson, Tricia Coy, the chair of this event, who has been delightful to work with. Also, we should thank the behind-the-scene people that help people like Dana, Darla, and James that I know of. Thank you very much. I also want to thank all the contributors of this presentation. For Norm and Constance, when we ran campaigns, we all said that Asians love rice. So that was our story. And for Charlie Royer, I was afraid that he would talk about our nightlife in Japan, but I'm glad you didn't mention that. Thank you very much for your comments. I sure miss your brother, Bob. And friends and colleagues like Tommy Keda, who's a leader in our community, Phyllis Campbell, and Yuka Shimizu, who you will be giving us those, and then my daughter and my son for helping us with this program. I understand in the audience is Nancy and Dan Evans and Mark. We sure appreciate your attendance. Thank you. I'm sure both of my parents and my grandparents would be proud of this family recognition. Our father started our family business, Uwajimaya, in Tacoma in 1928. Our mother's father and his brothers came from a merchant family and arrived in Seattle in the early 1900s. Culturally, a succession of a family business is prized achievement in Japan. We have dealt with Japanese family businesses with histories of 15 generations and more. So this recognition is appreciated. I and all the siblings were brought up in a great family atmosphere. Wonderful parents. Although we all had to work at our family firm, our parents valued all levels of education. Plus, they felt traveling was of great value. And my mother also traveled the world. And so we all enjoyed traveling. I have been blessed with a wonderful wife, the mother of our children, Tyler and Denise. Unfortunately, she passed away when they were in school. My current wife, Jenny, adores our 4 wonderful grandchildren. We have been blessed with good, healthy siblings and their spouses, children, and many fine uncles and aunts. I have about 25 or 26 first cousins, mostly in Japan, and I have been able to spend time with each of them. I have had wonderful neighbors with great support. Although I was never the first in my class, I was able to attend many great schools such as Bailey Gatzert, Garfield, and University of Washington. Have been blessed with a wonderful family and school friends and business relations. I still have friends that I stay in touch with. I met in the 3rd grade almost 75 years ago. It really truly takes a whole village to make one's life a great life. And so, again, thanks all my friends and colleagues for sharing this day with me. And one special friend that you've heard from is Yuka Shimizu, a friend. Her husband was born in the city of Uwajima. Unfortunately, he passed away, but we first met, like she said, about 20, 30 years ago. And at that time, she had 20 students in her private school. Now she oversees a school with over 900 students. So with that, Yuka has been not only a great business person and a leader, but has been very resourceful and provided resources and leadership for many of our community events. So with that, Yuka-san, toast onegai shimasu.
Thank you for the introduction. Congratulations on receiving the first Citizen Award. You make us so proud to be a part of this community. Thank you for all your amazing leadership and contribution. It is my honor to make a toast in Japanese. 富雄さん、ご家族の皆さん、心よりお喜びを申し上げます。さらなるご活躍とご発展、そして今日ここにご出席されている皆様のご多幸と地域の平和な発展をお祈りします。僭越ではございますが、これより乾杯の音頭を取らせていただきます。皆さんご唱和をお願いします。乾杯。おめでとうございます。
Thank you all for joining us to commemorate our 82nd honoree, and we hope to see you later this year as we celebrate our 83rd recipient to be announced this spring. We would like to apologize. That was the Seattle Matsuri Taiko from Seattle Betsuin Buddhist Temple. Another special thanks to John L. Scott Windermere and Uwajimaya, and a very special, and a very special thank you to our MC, Trish Coy. We couldn't have done it without you. Enjoy your evening. Good night.
Oh, ends it early, huh?
Bye, everybody.